As always, Daniël-James here. I've done more than 2 to 3 million in gross sales with marketing campaigns. We've helped different website companies and e-commerce companies. Isn't there something about embracing the chaos when you have kids, you have a business? There's so many things happening multiple times all at once. How do you kind of simplify that? How do you beat inflation? How do you navigate all the bundles and things like that in your life and your business? Well, I told the team, let's just try something really crazy. Let's go all out with a bundle offer for clients. If you want to do like next level marketing, this should in 90 days improve your brand. What we're throwing up on top of that, just to have fun with it, is a Ledger Stax Wallet. It looks like this, so you'll be receiving one. And yes, it's got Doge and Bitcoin that you can put on it and then move it around and things like that. So check it out. We'll jump into my vehicle. We'll go to a vacation resort. We'll go to my office and talk about this. The video is much longer, so go make sure to follow through with it. So this is a little bit of the town area that I'm in, and I thought I would quickly catch this on video. Hey, so I am Daniël-James Vandenberg. I've worked with Fortune 500 companies like Ford and Terra, and I've also worked with an insurance company that has over 500 to, almost 1,000 people, I think, working with them. But not just that, I'm involved with a lot of business owners, and for the first time, we've bundled a bunch of the stuff that we do into something really interesting. And we're also going to be talking about inflation proofing your business, recession proofing your business. What does that look like, not just from the investment standpoint, from your family standpoint, and all of that in this video, which is super duper fun. I've been wanting to talk about this because I've been a mad scientist in the background, like trying this, trying that. Like a lot of my competitors, or even my friends and family, are like, what is going on with this guy? Is he sane? But yes, I am sane. It's called the guinea pig method, where you experiment with things, but it's not shiny object. You're trying it out for a certain season and then you're moving on. But we've decided, we found a very nice formula and a bundle that's part of this video. So the first thing is, there's a bundle you can claim. It's like $500 off of what business executives, marketing directors, and owners have been seeing and giving us feedback on with our business on how to make it better and things like that. So I'm just driving in the neighborhood here. I'm gonna swing to the office and dive into that stuff on the computer. But this is my old neighborhood where I grew up with my first time, like just from being married, not growing up, sorry, being married with my wife. And we used to walk this place like so much. There's a park up the road called Glenmere Park. That's beautiful. And we had our first kid down in this little house. And I'm about to drive kind of in that area and drive by it. I just can't believe it. But anyways, we went from that place to the place we're in now through a lot of hurdles, 2 years of showing good income, getting to a 6-figure plus business, being able to do that with other companies and learn from them and grow with them and things like that. So another part of the video is me going to be talking about the bundle offers and the inflationary times, the war times, election cycles. My goodness, is a lot going on, right? So I know this neighborhood like the back of my hand. We're about to drive by the place. I just don't want to look too weird or awkward, but I will quickly show you. And special thanks to my brother-in-law who helped us get the place, or my wife got the place first. So Seth, thanks brother, you're awesome. But you can see the little house with the yellow door. It's this one that's just coming up. We repainted that whole house and spent hours and hours making it better so that we could sell it for a really good profit. Take that profit, leverage it into another house that is more of like our family home. And the real nice part about it was, as someone who had built the house, did a lot of construction and made it nice. And that's one criteria. I said, I do not want to do construction. That's not who I am. You can see the way that I interact and things like that, where my brother-in-laws and other family are like amazing. They're just rebuilding homes and things like that, fixing and flipping during times like these. So that's something where, as a business owner, you have to learn about that profitability phases that you have to get through. 2 years of profitability, where it's enough to qualify for that loan. And now we see rates do all kinds of things, right? And what I want to share with you the bundle offers and how this was going to help you, because like what, how, and what, and you know, what does it look like? I've personally been involved with a marketing campaign where we took $14,000 over 4 months and they grossed about $1 million in vehicle sales. I've also been in a blitz scaling e-commerce company where we had to get through the filters and get onto different platforms like YouTube, TikTok, and all that. And how do you bring it all together? What is the platforms we're using to make that happen? Well, how's the team navigating that? How do I get home every day and figure out my mental strategy? These are things I want to bring into what we're talking about with the bundles, and how does DJM and our workshops, we have the YouTube channel, and we have now a mastermind starting called the Maximize Mastermind. I thought of calling it MoneyBru Mastermind, but it's a little too surface level. The podcast is called that, but I did a mastermind and realized there's so much value in that, and we're gonna bring it to the certain clients as a new year, like a different launch, and we'll see how that experiment rolls, if people enjoy it. The format is very unique because of the way everyone gets to interact. So what I was saying is, we all know that doing business alone and in isolation is not the way to go. We will drive ourselves crazy, and I feel like a lot of countries you can feel this, where in America mostly you feel isolated if you don't build a community, or you feel like the community doesn't want to talk deep about certain situations. So the first tip and advice to break through is get around these people, but put them in a situation where you can be vulnerable. I think there's a really good book by a person where they talk about this opportunity to talk about the deeper things where you won't feel judged, because these are like internal clients that have been through the ringer, but they're also on the premium tier of what we offer, and so you're getting premium perspective, and every week and every month in those sessions will be different. So that's an exciting part of what we're doing. Another element that is part of this bundle, and I'll show you on my screen here as I get to the office and sort some stuff out. We've been setting up all these, I call them moats. We have a lot of moats in the business that drive traffic into our city and keep the traffic in certain areas flowing. And you want that for your business as well. You want moats that are going to bring in revenue, ancillary revenue, site selling, upselling, all those really good places, but you still need to add the value there and not just start a new business, right? That's where when you start that new business, now you're starting from scratch and you're starting behind. You don't want that. That's a bad idea until you've hit like a high revenue goal and someone else, like a CEO, is running that business you want to run. Now, part of this is that accountability. I remember going through different sessions, and that's how I met Meet Kevin, and I met a few other entrepreneurs like Marcus Lemonis, Tim Story, just so many cool people like Nick Saracento. He has no limbs, but he's a phenomenal entrepreneur. So we've pulled up here at the office, and I planned this filming day, all with podcasts and things like that we had on with clients. So part of the bundles, and make sure I don't get run over here, part of the bundles is there's one of the co-workers in our office space. What a legend, Paul Beveridge. He's got really good skills with brand development, things like that. I ain't here for the money, I ain't here for the fame, though it might be nice to own a jet plane. I'ma do it all for you, come along and see. Okay, hey everyone, welcome to MoneyBru Tips and Tricks. We're at the beautiful Cheyenne Mountain Resort here in Colorado Springs, and you want to live a recession-proof life, a recession-proof business, how does that work? How do you do that? And what does that look like? Seeing as we're going into these different moments in time. From, you know, you can go from inflation to recession. You can go from a low job market to a high job market. And it kind of feels like those things change all the time. So what does it look like to build a recession-proof portfolio? What does Elon Musk do to mitigate certain things when you're growing these parts of your business and your life? How do we do it? What are some client examples? And yeah, this resort was fantastic. It's been such a journey and so enjoyable to just like be here and be part of it. It took 3 babysitters to get a break, right? So I'm being a little real with you guys. Literally, it was 2 grandparents or 2 parents and 1 grandparent to get 3 days of vacation. We used a little bit of credit card system points to get to this point. But what we've learned lately is to change how we're doing things. And so maybe moving more onto a debit card system that's slightly simpler, where you just put 1 or 2 or 3 rotating debit cards to protect your finances. Credit cards can be too loose, and it's actually the worst liability debt to have as a person or a business. It's great for points, but that's how they get you, right? So we've always been taught, oh, optimize points and stuff, and I've made videos, and I must apologize. I am pretty much wrong on certain times and periods. If you cannot be disciplined to hold to that credit card paying to 0 moment, then you need to switch up your strategy to a more fluid, tactical cash flow strategy during a recessionary time. So that's one tip I have for you guys, especially during recessionary seasons, is hunker down, right? So do it personally and maybe have like 1 business credit card to operate out of and then leverage those points that way. But ultimately the credit card's goal is for the credit card company. There is a time and a place where you overspend or you over leverage. Places to over leverage are going to come out of, let's say, property, are going to come out of, you know, other assets like an IUL investment, which I've talked about in this channel, where you're overfunding an insurance investment, kind of like what Joy does in her business. And now when it comes to stock markets portfolios, what does a stock market portfolio that's recession proof look like? So what that looks like is an ETF style portfolio on a platform like M1 Finance, where you not only have like BND ETF, which is a bond, total market bond ETF. You have DPG, which is a 2 times leverage gold ETF. Gold is so strong during a recession, like every country buys that during that time. You can also buy TAN, which is all the energy sector stocks. Now what's beautiful about these ETFs is you still get the dividend as long as they're not like 2x leverage. But gold and Bitcoin, the BITX, don't have leverage on them. So you could still buy those ETFs in a pool. And then my next suggestion would be, let me go this way. Just exploring this place, right? Showing you guys what's up. Beautiful mountain view on that side. Getting away really just refreshes everything in your mind, which I love. But so BITX is a good one. Another good one is, I think it's YWM, which also has like high dividend paying out companies. Those ones are a little more risky because now you're dealing with funds that, you know, are small term companies that could go under. So be careful. High dividend doesn't always mean safety, right? Like they could reduce their stock price by doing share offerings, buying back shares, or doing reverse splits. So that's why I'm like, be careful with the QQQ stock market type stuff for recession proof, or even like the small cap companies. If even the S&P 500 is susceptible to big drops in a recession, because what happens? Jobs numbers are bad. So what companies don't hire, or they secretly let go of people, which we're seeing a lot of right now. And you end up in this position where there is very little strength in a lot of these companies, and AI doesn't make that any easier. So I'm a massive proponent on AI, but even if it brings companies down, now you're in trouble. And so you don't want to hold that in your portfolio. So what else can you hold? You can hold TLT, which is a 20-year treasury. You can also hold Rocket Lawyer, and as well as like, what's this other one? UWMC, which is more of like a wholesale mortgage type company, which is kind of cool. And you can also hold like a company that has residential mortgage. So let me get into the office so we can talk candidly, more in depth, and I can show you a little bit behind the scenes. So let's go. We got the bikes here. The other day, someone thought this was a bike. Everyone thinks this is a bike shop, but it's actually a co-working space called the MJC. The Macy Jones Collective is what it's called. You know, my little workstation. Part of the mastermind is also going to be something called a war room, right? Where you're allowed to talk candidly and get deep with stuff. The bundles will include podcast sponsorships plus merch and things like that. We've got the little setup here with the mic stand, make that happen. How do you become like a leopard entrepreneur, right? Someone who can have all these things and then train them and push it off to the team is what we do really well. There's Manny the mannequin from the podcast. He really has no value being there. A comedy format producer said I should throw him in the show. I guess these are just silly knickknacks, right, from things that I've done in the past, but this was when I spoke at UNC. I did the Maximize AI preview, and then I always use the Art of War reference down here, if you can see that. And then I've got the leopard and some other cool goodies. And recently I really like this. This should motivate you. This is from a podcast guest I had on, JB Kellogg. But I love this chariot analogy. It's basically, you know, intellect, will, and passion, and a chariot is an example of that, right? So horse and chariot is Christian focused, but the principles are so powerful. Your intellect is you on the chariot, and then your will is the ropes that are pushing it forward with the horses, or the, I can't remember the word of it, but the horse is the passion, right? Driving your vision forward. So his little morning motivation podcast gets you in that frame of mind to execute, to feel good about the day. And yes, I have this crazy old construction light here that works magic for when we do sessions and make things work. What else should I tell you? So another thing I'll quickly mention is, and we'll jump into my screen here and so you can see this with the testimonials. Okay, let's jump right into the computer. I thought it was super funny to see Paul out there. Anyways, he's working with local brands, which is really awesome. So I've always chat to him. He's got a great sense of humor. It keeps it really relaxed. So what is this? This is the offer right here that we have for what's, I think, the next accumulation of things that we've put together that's going to open up, you know, doors for you that you're looking to do in your business, locally, nationally, you know, internationally. I come from South Africa with that third world experience. I've been in the US for 10 years. Got my citizenship 2 or 3 years ago, maybe more now that you're watching this video. And yeah, I've really learned how to maximize everything and take all the pieces of the business and create this giant flywheel to feed itself. And you get to do the same thing now with us. So beat inflation by locking in $500 towards a marketing suite, mastermind, podcast sponsorship, and merch bundle. So what does this all mean? What you're seeing down here is a presentation I did. You can claim the bundle by clicking here, and I'll show you what that does. And if you scroll down, you'll just see some client testimonials, people who've done programs like this with us. You know, the merchandise is going to also include our AI workshop that you've seen all the different sections I've spoken about on that, called Maximizing AI. There's a 3K leads course that comes with that. And all of these have values, right? So if you look at the first bundle, there's, you know, 500 off of the main bundle. The total value is, you know, and this value could change as time goes on, but this is what it is right now. The podcast values are pretty high. You get 7,000 of local targeted viewership for your brand and audience, and then you get featured on the MoneyBru show, things like that. So I'll talk a bit about that. This was that marketing campaign I mentioned earlier, with the shotgun approach of what platforms we're using. There's supposed to be Instagram in there, and this one has continued to do that. There's a little bit on the team. And to understand what we are as a company, DJM, think of it as a web and marketing company that has a club, like an premium level club or an ancillary opportunity to be business owners and like really get in the weeds. And I'm doubling down on this right now because of this inflation video that I've built. I was looking at, okay, what can companies leverage? And it's really these three things. So the marketing suite is not just the CRM. There's integrations and optimization that happens in there. You get like our email templates, things like that. The mastermind is, for now, I think it'll be monthly, but they could be bi-weekly. And I've spoken a bit about that, where we'll have these unique sessions virtually. The podcast sponsorship is huge because you're able to be on a higher plane, and we put you on the first big part of the segment, and then at the end of the segment, and you're over 2 or 3 videos. So let's quickly look at the process here. A bonus I threw in was $250 shopping credit on the merch store. But let's run through each one of these so that you guys understand and can kind of move on to the next part of the video. Once you click claim, it's going to do this, and it's going to do this opportunity to use your 500 credit. So that's step 1. So once you've done this, then you're going to get to fill out your information so that we know where we can kind of claim everything and make sure we're talking to the right person. I'll use my example here, and I'll just kind of quickly punch this in. The office address, that's fine. I agree with terms. Go back. Okay, claim price. Email was already used, so I have to use a different email. Let's do this one. Okay, and then you go claim. Email was already used. Well, I've used a lot of these. Let's do info. Must have used tons and tons of them. Phone number was already used. That's funny. I think that one's going to be taken too. Okay, cool. It's going to show this, redeem offer. Okay, and then it'll take you to a booking page. You just got to wait for it, or you can click on access your bundle over here. So I'll just click on that quickly. And it's going to take you to, actually if I go back, it should take you to the right page, which looks like this. Let's go preview this page. What happens here, and part of the process, is you get a one-on-one session with us, and that one-on-one will onboard some of these marketing suite tools, for let's say your team. You can use the video to share it with your team. We'll talk strategy of your brand, what you're struggling with, where you can, and this is where we're a little very different than our competitors, I would say, because you just have so much more access to us and the team and things like that. So let's say I chose Tuesday and next. It's election day here in the States. Really wonder who's going to win it. When you get to the end of this form, what you'll see is the 500 promo credit has been taken off of this price, and this price may change, but it shows you all the details. There's also the 15-day refund, policy, which I call it the take your money and run guarantee. And literally, you can ask our clients, look at the reviews. We stick behind what we say we're going to do and want to do, and we try and keep nurturing into those places so that you can grow as a business, be more efficient. So that's the 15-day impact challenge or take your money back and run guarantee. So that's how this works. Once you're in there, then we're going to start setting up your accounts and things like that. So the first thing is your dashboard and the marketing suite. It's $962 a year with us, but if you paid through this direct platform, we call it the WebGate AI DJM Hub. you would be paying so much for all these things like email tracking, phone tracking, you know, posting on social media. Like we do everything within this. That is really, really mind-blowing. So we've brought all of this into one wholesome package. And now what this package doesn't kind of focus on is like our web services or our marketing services, because it's not about that. It's about the knowledge, it's about the tools and bringing a bundle forward like I've never ever done, and running with this for a period of time. We don't know how long we're going to be going with this type of thing. You may have to buy each bundle package separately later. I have a social media poster, and some of you may have seen this platform, but something that's not included that other people may not have is we have snapshots, email templates, and automations on email that can work. You can use an AI poster. So like whenever you see our post, we're doing it through here. And I know a lot of people are now using stuff like this. You can generate it with AI. And then I talk about it in the workshop as well. It's the same offer. I haven't changed that offer one bit. And I wanted to stay with that and keep that consistency. You can look at different reporting and reputation of your brand. One of my favorites is actually looking at the conversations on social media. So you can go and see like, okay, who's all talking to me, connecting with me. Your sales team can be tracked, like their phone numbers run through this thing. Is nuts. So I don't want to go too much deeper on this. There's even an AI phone call system I built with a friend of mine, which you can watch his podcast coming up. Colorado Family Roofing with Brian Barnes. Craziest story about how he was making 300,000 back down to 150, and then started a business to try and reach 150 again. Came from the lawn care side, very entrepreneurial, top salesperson at one point. So yeah. So with the podcast inclusions, and just excuse my internet here, and I'm having fun with this. So bundle on bundle on bundle. I'm having a blast with you. And you know, to hear my heart, let me tell you why, and I'm doing a lot of this. I would love to be there with you, and I love seeing the team that we have be there with you when you come home from a hard dinner and you need to say like, I need to get back into the mastermind, the maximized mastermind. Go and be able to do that and share this off the community, right? Bounce ideas off of different people. So you're going to get access to the tribe here. Like I said, this is a long-ended bundle. And then you go and you can have access to the 2 workshops that we do. And for those of you who already have access, this is still valuable because you don't need to pay for any of these extra workshops. We're just throwing them all in. Like they're all included now, all of them. And it's pretty nuts. On the podcast, we've gotten about almost 200,000 views so far. At this period of time, you know, 11,000 watch hours, 200 subscribers. And that's only on this platform. It's not TikTok, Twitter, and all the others. If you look at like our statistics here, you can, on this platform, you'd be using a similar platform, or your team would be, you can go and see the stats. So like if I looked at impressions and likes, you could see that for these 2 platforms. And they just added YouTube now as well. Let me go back into Planner, which I thought was incredible, and TikTok. We've seen vehicles be sold on TikTok. We've seen e-commerce explode on TikTok. I'll talk a lot about that in a different session. And so, yeah, you get to be part of this, and you will have an ad segment. If you're ever curious on what that looks like, there's a sponsor your brand page. It's literally Daniël-James Media/sponsor. If I scroll down here, this is kind of an example where we did breeze through a local chain in a few different states that they do car washing, and yeah, they got a promo spot. So it's this first silver package. You can always upgrade later. Now, if I go back a step, you guys have seen everything there that's included. Let me make sure I don't miss anything. Mastermind access, you guys will get invites every month. It'll keep running. That alone costs around 500 or more now, depending on where this video is at. The DJM private hub, we're releasing a new backend hub workspace. So we're always releasing new stuff, and I get so tired of like saying, oh, this is new, this is new, this is new. But it really is like being able to add to the moat, add to the moat, add to the bucket. Make the city or castle so strong that it's hard for competitors to compete or even offer like what we're doing here on this type of value offer. And then lastly, you know, you get to kind of do shopping on the merch store. What does that look like? This is the merch store. Some of you have seen it. You can buy stuff for your kids, buy stuff for yourself. Stuff is useful and enjoyable. We've seen a really cool way of bringing client loyalty is sending gifts that are, it's fully customized, right? So we're giving you that customized promotion, and then you can go and pick exactly what you want. If that's a Snuggie, which has been a big seller, that's kind of what Brandy bought over here, and we have other clients who've been raving about it. So let me just play this for you guys.
So I first heard of DJM through Tabletop Networking and their first AI workshop, which I loved and learned a ton about, and it scared and empowered me at the same time, which was perfect. And since then, we've done a lot of work with DJM at the roofing business, and I feel like it's benefited our marketing and strategy quite a lot, and we loved it. I got a Snuggie from them, like a big, huge hooded fleece sweatshirt, and I wear it every morning, and it's amazing. So check out their merch.
I just love them too. Thank you guys so much. I'm gonna get emotional. No, for all reals there, right? So we have the testimonials to back up how we do things. You guys are getting that Maximize AI workshop too. The landing page looks like this. Just want to show you, you know, how much value that's kind of being drawn here. And the testimonies. One of the testimonies I really loved was David Albin. I've been in the personal development industry for 25 years. You know, I've been around many different companies, and I give them 5 stars all the way around. Love working with this company, not to mention that I went and did the fire walk with them. That experience as a brand loyalty, inflation-proof option is so awesome. Get your team to buy in even deeper by doing the Office, Michael Scott type things, right? No, I'm just kidding. Yes, but maybe. No. Having those incentives that drive action, having events that allow us to do things. Someone who does that really well is Matt Sharp in Fort Collins. Shout out to you, shout out to your crew. Everyone's pretty awesome there. I love them. And he's got a book, he's got a kids book now, he's got a roofing company, real estate company, but he knows how to draw the team with, and local companies with local events. And so yeah, there's a lot of companies that have figured that out. That is one way to insulate yourself if you do it the right way and you use the right budgets and stuff like that. So, real people, real results. I look forward to seeing you take some action on this. Let's jump into the inflation, anti-recession proof craziness. What do you do? How do you do it? I have a special freaking segment here. I have a special segment just for you on this piece. And I'm very passionate. You can tell, like, I love economics, understanding things. I've had an e-commerce business that, you know, we're doing 10, 20,000 in a month. We were, you know, I've done technical day trading for a season to learn the economy and to learn how businesses' stocks work. But I've also looked at investment strategies and non-investment strategies, internal business strategies, and there's like a episode I do with Matt Sharp where I talk about it. So let's jump into that segment right now without me talking too much. So this burning topic, burning question about recession proof, you know, all this stuff. Where does it come from? We've been doing a lot on the blog, but then also just on social media. If you guys want to check it out, it's on the website, djm.design, and this is called our blog section. And it came a lot out of this 30-day social media detox. And it's phenomenal what this has done for me personally and professionally, and you guys could definitely try something like that out in your life to just break away, right? And then kind of digest and think where you're at. I got 30 days when I did the social media break, but I also went away, and part of this is going to be from this video, and I'll throw you into a 360 video right now, and then we'll come back here and I'll finish some of the blog topics that are crucial. And you can always go read the blog. There should be a link in the description with some other stuff as well. So check that out, and then let's come back. So we're back. Wow, like more stock stuff, right? It sounds like a lot. You know, I end up talking about a piece in there, and you see kind of me walking away. But there's other companies like Redfin you can look at. Not a massive fan of Redfin, but you know, the ones I mentioned before. Mortgage lending companies are going to have to do a series of refinances for companies and people, and it's going to be this whirlwind at some point. Who knows how far along that's going to be, but it's coming. And so back into the blog section here, we've also seen that you can go against positions, but I don't always recommend that. So you're going against Train America. Americans are super duper resilient, and think about it, man. It's people who established a new land from Britain. There's like 200 or something years of people who've been through war, people who've had to establish a nation. That is in Americans, like it's in them. They don't realize it. They think, oh no, it's gone. No, yes, you may be eating McDonald's. You may be doing the unhealthy things that could lead you to the mad diet, which my wife and I talk about and call. It's basically the crazy American, diet that they have. But anyways, so our blogs are covered with sponsors, but you can enjoy this. And it also birthed out of this autism episode. I was really inspired by that and looking at the fact that these episodes are spurring on other conversations for things that are important. So some thoughts on quarter 3, quarter 4, spur on these conversations. Now, these may be relevant for timely sessions, but I just wanted to say that this was timestamped for 2024, but you could still learn from it in this video. I like the Elon Musk approach, right? You cut things back, delete everything, find out what the market wants and what is viable. Take that and then go back and go to the one thing, the simplest piece, and say, can it run on just this? And then you add one more thing, but keep it as efficient as possible. And if it can still run like that, that's great. Now you simplify that and optimize that and automate that. And that's it. That's the process. And you just keep doing that. But you first have to delete everything and say, okay, no. Like, where do we start from scratch? It's the engineer flow. And you'll see this in your family too, where you get blocked or you need to get through some things. Like, example, adding kids to your life. So those people who don't have kids, no offense, Alex Hormozy, some of these big names, they have employees as kids, right? They don't have their own kids. But when you have kids, it builds in a capacity in you where you have to simplify and optimize. You have to reduce the stress so you can remove the mess, right? You have to move things in your time schedule to allow kids to develop and grow. And it's the most beautiful thing because you become less selfish. And that's what a lot of people miss. The selfish element is blocking you from being and moving into the direction you need to be. If that's spiritual, what I believe, then it's important to realize there's value in kids, there's value in life. There's a lot of reason behind that. But anyways, I'm not going to get into that. Cutting things out, not being blind to your finances. Like I spoke about how we changed from, those different elements. The next thing that I found really fascinating was we use this thing called scorecards in our business, and it came from this book Traction. This is such a fundamental book, but what the scorecard does, and I could share this in the description too, is it allows for an overview on a daily, but it's like KPIs on the next level. Now this is 2022, so we've come a long way since then, but I was going to show you this. So it shows your gross revenue, your expenses, your recurring billing, like podcast, grant funding, whatever it may be in that time period. You're tracking these numbers, and the team and you are just sitting and having those discussions every now and again, like, hey, what's going on here? What's going on there? How do we double down on this piece, that piece, to raise up your moat, raise up the whole city that you've been building, and bring it back down to one business, right? You're not a superstar unless you own multiple businesses and have small equity. There's a reason people own small equity pieces. So the scorecard has been great. Deciding between rocks and pebbles in a recession or a wartime can get you through it by knowing the numbers, being encouraged by those daily wins. And this gives you like these, I have too many on here. You're supposed to have like 3 or 4, but go read Traction. It has a lot on that, which is really, really neat. Back to the podcast. Where are you excelling? We excelled with this industry client, and we did 800% growth. Okay, double down on that, do more of that, enjoy the ride. Now, what else can be done? So you do detoxes, get your mind straight. You can apply for credits and grants during these times. You can get a loan to kind of fund you through. Calculate the risk. Okay, how long? The story in Egypt with the 7-year drought and the 7-year of good times before the drought point to Joseph, who went in, stored all of that up, spread it out, and they were like the richest nation at the time, and everyone from all over the world came and got grain from them. Wow, right? Imagine you're that person, that you got the right calling, heard the right thing, now you've got the storehouse. Moving on to the next one. That is, if you can calculate that, then go for it. Secondly, you can do much larger proposals, put more risk on the table, raise prices to find that gap. Be real, be honest, announce the change, and then say, hey, like, the reason this is happening, X, Y, and Z, inflation, wartime, whatever. And you're gonna find your golden clients, and you're gonna keep treating them good and keep like having this amazing opportunity with them. So talking about those inflation pies, this is some snapshots. This one was the risk against inflation long term. Oh, such a beautiful one. When you click on these, you're going to see the growth over time and how it works, right? You can do it on M1, you can do it on your own platform. But think about micro strategies. So as a business, they bought Bitcoin, Michael Saylor, to insulate the business. Bitcoin explodes, the company explodes. They're doing really well. They have this, instead of having gold as like a reserve, they have this. And then realize good debts and bad debts consolidate into the good ones, right? So assets and properties, those are good debts, even though it feels painful as you're paying them off. Make sure you have enough capital and revenue to support that. If not, don't do it. That's why when I drove by the neighborhood, we only have one house right now, because we didn't want to be house poor is the right word, which just means you don't have enough cash flow, and you have this amazing house, but there's not enough cash, so you can't keep up with all of it, all the Joneses, right? Avoid that. You don't want to do it. Okay. You want to be the top of the class in the neighborhood. That's always a good strategy, I think. So that's the other thing, consolidate into good debt. You can do that by diversifying your debt as well. Car loan versus credit cards, big difference, huge difference. Car loans depreciating, home loans appreciating, right? Businesses appreciating in a certain value and asset class. So remember that. And you can't just sell a business like this. I know businesses, and what I've been through, you see that happen. Something we started doing was allowing clients to sell their domains and websites as a recession-proof strategy. Like, hey, you got into the point where you're shutting the business down. There was a bad actor in the business, and I was like, they're a Jonah. They're going to sink you. Get rid of them. Basically, someone on you can see I use a lot of biblical principles because it actually works, right? Like it applies to everyday life. Companies, people, you got to choose the clients so that you can excel and grow with the right people. It's okay to make less money with the right people. It's awesome. That's recession proof. The recession proof pie is down here, and then there's the GPT pie, which is the 4.0. The risk there is it's leveraged. So there's this thing called volatility drag. If you hold that in this asset class, it will start to volatility drag. So you kind of lose the value over time, and it's more volatile. So you're like, oh no, why am I not growing? But then over a long period of time, it's like, whoop, super high, right? Look at that one, shot right up. But there's more ups and downs as you get there. With these ones, like you can see this consistent growth pattern. I got this from Dumb Money. They have a podcast and they talk all about 3x leverage stocks. Okay, another strategy that I was going to talk about is just some proper other things you can think about is avoid day trading. You can get destroyed in that. There's a strategy I like to do called ratting, and it comes from a funny video game reference. It's about being in the game the longest, but what it is a lot of times the opponent is, and this strategy comes from like an Age of Empire strategy or whatever. You're building 2 kingdoms, 3 kingdoms, and the one competitor is like, oh, they're losing, so let's go take them over. But what you're doing is you're pulling back like an ocean, building up reserve, trying to take advantage of them being on the offensive, like on the Art of War, and then boom, you've ratted, you become this fat rat. So that's the fat rat. Now you can take over and do everything you need to do, but you got to be skimpy and scrimpy and get all the way through that season, no matter what it takes. I think Dave Ramsey calls it the rice and bean strategy, which I don't like the rice and beans because it's like too specific. I think you can go much further. Like I've looked at a guy called Ramit Sethi, and he has really good advice on that. Okay, if your safety is good, go to the index universal life type of ideas. And if you look at companies and when they're going to cut jobs and stuff, let's go. Yeah. So here's another one. You can kind of country hack and go that route, but not every time is it going to be exactly what you want. And I've heard of retirees say, well, I will just move to another country. I've even thought of that, right? Why didn't I just move somewhere? Why live in such a high cost of living in Colorado where like my project man, like someone else is living in the Caribbean or somewhere else at a much less cost of living? And I don't know, family members who want to move to other countries or things like that. Or I can go back to my own country. But the US tax follows me. The negative in the US, what I call it, is the safety, beauty, and like societal tax, because this is fly bothering me. Yes, you're paying a lot of taxes, but who knows which way things go. You got to make your society and your environment and culture around you better, and find those cultures you can plug into. But yeah, you got to be smart about it and not just say, throw up your hands and, oh, I'm done with this. But there is ways to kind of hack that process and go with it. You got to look at, like, there's this ripple effect in America where, you know, jobs can get cut. And so when jobs get cut, then things are really bad. That's what the Fed is avoiding at all costs, with rate increases, rate drops, and stuff like that. Now, I know this video is extended, but it's so vital for all of us to hear this. When that starts to happen, what you see is, you know, panic in the market, people trying to find capital, trying to move the needle, and you'll see the banks and the government and corporations who have the power. They all have, those are the power players. This is why pharmaceuticals are incentivized by medical procedures. This is why politicians are incentivized by pharmaceutical or like other companies, and there's some massive investment companies that have so much money that they can do really evil, weird stuff. You know, I'm not even going to talk about it because it's too controversial. The deep state, right? Like the ambulance is going to get them. There's too much hypothetical there. I don't like that. So concluding thoughts, remember to surround yourself with people who care about you and that are going to be about you. You minimize to maximize. Experiment fast with the least amount of resources. You know, join the hybrid entrepreneurship, diversify your job and business, and build an investment or a cash war chest to deploy during a mini recession or a big recession bubble break. We don't know when it's coming, but when it does, you're ready. Just like Uncle Warren Buffett, okay? So definitely do those kinds of strategies as we conclude, where you find those jobs that are more secure and they're more insulated, you know, like medical, military, some of those stocks in my recession proof. I think it's AER. It's a military focused ETF. And I'm saying a lot. Yes, we went through a lot and we spoke about so many important things to think about. Alleviating cash flow, don't just cut the little things when you are looking for that inflationary gap, and don't just, you know, you could work multiple jobs to keep up with it. Like you can be a hybrid entrepreneur, just choose the right hybrid thing to do that will allow you to actually go out and do that. Weigh the risks. If you're moving away from family and community, you may be a lot sadder and upset, but maybe you don't value family as much. So hey, that works for you. All I'm gonna say is I'm gonna encourage you. If you are struggling mentally with anything, just definitely call 988. I think that's the mental health line. Go seek a better help person. If you're drowning, the concept is always to use your last breath to say, I need help, but make sure to take help and take action. Don't just be a complainer. because I could tend to fall in that bucket as well. Don't do it. You're more than that. You're stronger than that. You can do it. I know sometimes you feel like, and I've said this to my family sometimes, it's like a sausage grinder. You know, you're just kind of being pushed through the thing. Like, it's like, when is this thing gonna stop? And just step back, give yourself room, realize the things that are awesome, touch the ground that you're on, like look at the place you're in, and be grateful, man. Like, we have so much to be thankful for. Just being alive is cool. And when I was young, my mom would always say, smell the leather seats. We had a really old car. It was breaking. Rats had chewed the gear shift. There was a seat that when you sat down on it, like we used it as a prank for our friends because it was loose. It just like slipped down and like fall in the back of the car. And like, it's a station wagon. It's called an Opel Astra, and the mirror was off. It was just everything in this car was terrible. So when we'd go past school, we'd all like duck and hide, come back up, and walk to school from around the block. So I'm sure some of you have stories like that. But eventually we got a car and it didn't have leather seats, but because my mom had faith, even when we were out of gas, we had to like free down a hill, she would say, smell the leather seats. And there's been stories like that with my dad as well, where we just have had these moments of really awesome times. Know that life is limited. The US government is in trillions of dollars of debt. Not to say that you have to be in debt. All I'm saying is what they expect from us and what we expect from them. There's a certain level of take it easy, man. Like, go drink a pina colada or go hang out, live life. Don't just dig in the hole, play video games or go to your vices. I know that's easy, but if there's a vice, work through it, work out of it, work with your family, work with everyone to eventually want to say, I'm past that. I'm much chiller, I'm through this, and I'm good. Like I'm going through those types of things a lot of times. Thanks for watching this. I don't want to keep going, it'll be way too long. If you understand what all went through this to get this video to you, you would like, share, and subscribe. Hit the button down there, I think it's on this side. And yeah, share your thoughts on some of this. Maybe you have some strategies that you want to share that are pretty awesome for a season like this, and the resiliency of it. So thank you so much. Oh, I had one other tip. So in events that happen quickly, be sure to pivot into it. So like COVID, we knew what we had to pivot into. You know, the quicker you did that, and the quicker you watched other companies around you and see what they did to do it and it works, do that for yourself. Like for an election cycle or anything in that nature, whichever party goes forward, make sure you have a plan A and a plan B of like how I want to interact and execute on that, and go for that opportunity and actually do what you had planned out, right? So like in the world of stocks, you would take options on energy if one party won. If the other party won, you would take it out on Tesla or on some other named stock, and just play that for a day or two. And that's actually really bad advice, but just know that you have leverage in every season and every moment. You just got to see the opportunity and find it, and just, you know, uncover it a little bit like a fossil, and let it reveal that thing, and churn on it, listen to it, think about it, pray about it, digest it, so that you can make a really good informed decision, and then use AI to help reinforce if you're making a good decision or not. Test it out, you know. I've heard of one guy uses AI to kind of counsel him sometimes because he just doesn't want to do a therapist. He knows what they're going to say to him and lets that slowly go through. It sounds scary, man. It sounds like iRobot, like it really is happening. But okay, cheers. See you on the next one.